Coming to you from Tempe, Arizona, we present to you a special episode of Cronkite Sports Live, the second episode of Cronkite Sports Extra.
That's right, Colgan. Our reporters have told the stories of various athletes and figures across Sun Devil athletics, and Colgan, I'm very excited to share.
On this episode, we are taking a closer look at how a football player is using his adversities as a form of strength.
Plus, how two students traveled across the world for a college education at Arizona State University and has now led them on a different path.
Also, the story of one of ASU's volleyball players and how she left her home in Mexico to pursue her dreams. All of this and more coming up on this special edition of Cronkite Sports Extra. Episode of Cronkite Sports Extra. I'm Colgan Herschel.
And I'm Ella Walter-Sanchez. ASU linebacker Cyrus Fiaseu has loved football for as long as he can remember. Football is his passion and was also his source of strength when his father passed away 3 years ago. WCSN reporter Leilani Firetag has the story.
To this day, I just still, when it's hard in the game, I'll be telling myself, hey, he used to tell me, the last 10 seconds.
One's life can change in a matter of seconds.
When we used to work out, he's like, the last 10 seconds of this workout gotta be, no matter how gassed you are, no matter, how hard it is, make sure them last 10 seconds, it's just your best, it's your all, man.
ASU linebacker Cyrus Fiaseu's did with a pick six on the second play of the Sun Devil season, a season that has since blossomed from being picked last to now going to the Big 12 championship.
And then for me to make a play and just feel the energy and all that, it still gives me goosebumps whenever I think about it. And it was cool too because my family was in the stands and all that, so they got to see me start my new journey over here, and it was good.
But there was a family member watching from a different seat. Fiaseu's father passed away his freshman year of college.
My dad was in and out the hospital at that time, my whole freshman year. This is November 18th, that's all I remember. November 18th, I called him, I'm like, hey, I'm here. And he's like, hey, I'm out the hospital, I'm gonna be there at the game. And the next day, game day in the morning, I get a call from my little brother and he's just screaming. And then from there, it kind of just went on.
This interview with Cyrus took place on November 18th. 3 years to the day of when he got that phone call.
I probably spent the most alone in that period. Didn't want to talk to nobody. But I will say, after I kind of got over the grief and doing all that, I realized life really is short. Because what was a filled chair at Thanksgiving one year, Christmas dinner one year, is an empty chair the next.
But Fiaseu has since persevered, turning that pain into passion.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me when it comes to football. That's all I have with him. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this until I can. I'm gonna keep trying until I can. This is for my dad.
I said he's looking down on you and he's praying for you and he's keeping you safe and he's also putting you, helping you be in the position you're in. I said, yeah, 100% he's proud of you, man. It gets me emotional and think about it because I'm really proud of him and what he's accomplished and done and just the time that I've been blessed to coach with him.
Fiaseu idolizes his father, honoring him each time he takes the field.
And so if I could be half the man my dad was, I'd be okay with that.
If you could say anything to him right now, what would it be?
Probably nothing I haven't said in prayers. When I pray to God every week, I pray to him every day. When I pray to God, I talk to him. If I had to say one thing, I'll just tell him I love him, to be honest. Because we didn't say much. Just, we weren't a very affectionate family. So, maybe my fault. maybe just one time, be able to tell him, like, I love you, man. Everything I'm doing is for him, and that I hope he's looking down with a smile on his face and hoping that I'm doing good and making him proud.
Reporting for Cronkite Sports, I'm Leilani Firetag.
Shinosuke Mima and Kento Toda both grew up playing soccer in Japan before immigrating to the United States to pursue a college education. Now their love for the game has led them to becoming male practice players for ASU's women's soccer team. Our Jacob Brooks has the story.
They're not just practice players, they're a part of our roster, and they just don't get to play on game day.
They're giving us so much more than what we're giving them, in my opinion.
They're definitely my sisters.
We are here to support them, build them up, get them ready for the game.
Just help them, like both the coach and the players.
Because I don't think they told us they were coming at first, and so I was kind of like, oh, what are they doing here?
And I think that at first the girls were like, why have we got guys coming in? Well, we've got extra girls here, why are we bringing in more players? So rather than having, I don't know, the 33rd, 34th, 35th best player from the girls' standpoint, trying to raise the level of our best players, we bring guys in who are potentially better than our best players, and therefore raising the level of our stronger players.
I've never actually trained with boys before, and this was definitely a new perspective, and it's been going great so far. They're awesome.
The focus and the intensity and the aggression and the speed of play, as Coach mentioned, it's invaluable.
To make them win, we have to come in and practice, or we have to help the coaches.
So all my tasks I'm doing right now, it's all my pressure, because I've got so many help when I used to play in Japan. So now I feel like it's time to give it back to next generation. Well, I'm from Toyota. Probably you guys may know Toyota City. That's the car city. After graduating high school, I found out studying abroad and stuff. So I decided take a try and study abroad and stuff and see how it's going. And I've been like 5 years right now, when I realized it.
I am from Osaka, which is #1 city in Japan. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm majoring in computer science here. That's kind of dream to study and get a job here.
I mean, they're all, firstly, obsessed with soccer. They all love soccer, which that mentality I wanted to bring to the team as well.
Those guys log the subs, they log the formations, they log who's coming in for who, and that is again, I heard Coach saying it, but it's a small task, a thankless task. But if we don't get that, then we don't get the data back from the game. So
they'll put the stuff away. They'll be putting out cones. They'll be whatever it might be. There's no job too small for them, and I love that.
Now that they're on the bench, they'll help us, kind of tactically, because they can see the game from the outer. You can't really see certain things on the field, and they see it. So they'll pull us aside. They'll tell us what needs to be done and what we can do better. And
decision making is quick. Passes, they're good quality passes. Physically, like running fast. And he really does bring up the level of the game.
I've been playing soccer like 18 years right now. I just play soccer all the time. So I didn't hang out with my friend pretty much. I just try to focus on, the soccer practice. I try to become a professional soccer player.
He and me plays like similar position, like number 6. We were in a Bausa camp, so we not the same but similar like soccer philosophy.
Well, the Barcelona camp, the players get together from in Japan, around Japan. I didn't know that he wasn't there. Well, looking back my past photos, and he was there. It's like, wow, is that crazy? Like 10 years ago.
When I told him my last name, he was like, wait, I might heard of it. And I was like, what? And then he just looked up in the photos, and then he found it.
Was that you? And he said, yeah.
We've got an amazing job, you know, at soccer. We come to work every day with a smile on our face, and they do the same thing, and they just fit right in. You could ask any of the girls in the team, and not one of them would have a single bad thing to say about any of them at all, ever.
Sometimes we're having rough days and we're kind of slow to start practice and stuff like that. They're always there to lift up the spirits, and it's awesome.
Last year when we got back from the NCAA tournament, we surprised the guys with the medallions that we get. Because the team gets medallions for making the NCAA playoffs, and so we ordered some extra ones because they're teammates as well.
It was great to bring that back to them and see their faces just like light up. I don't think they were expecting that either, so it was great to just give it to them because they help us a lot and they help us become better players.
I was just happy. Like at that time, like I felt like, oh, I'm in a part of the team. So I was so glad to get them the like small medals. Yeah.
Players always talk to me like, well, you guys are part of the team, so we do together everything. So that makes me feels like more grateful, you know, and really makes me happy.
Yeah, I would say like a brother. I think they're like brother, teammates, everything.
Ina and Kenta, just, you know, they're my sisters.
Thanks to his statistical expertise, ASU volleyball head coach J.J. Van Niel has revitalized the program since arriving at Arizona State 2 years ago. Our Crawford McKinstry takes a deep dive into the mind of Van Niel, the origins of his approach, and why it's been so successful.
A few years back, Arizona State volleyball was in a much different place than it is today. The Sun Devils struggled to build continuity and repeatedly found themselves watching the postseason from home. But after the 2022 season, ASU volleyball flipped the script and completely restored the program. At the helm of this transformation has been the great mind of head coach J.J. Van Niel. For those who don't know him well, they'll come to figure out pretty quickly that the Sun Devil head coach is infatuated with film and analytics.
Yeah, I mean, he's a numbers guy. He's gonna tell you straight up what it is.
And we do a lot of film, and sometimes in the moment, it's like, okay, we're doing film again. Like,
he's the best coach I've ever had, honestly. I think that he really just loves numbers, knows numbers, and I think that that's just what helps us be so successful. So.
Although analytics are the foundation of his philosophy and game plan today at ASU, Van Niel's expertise with numbers didn't begin with his coaching career in volleyball. Rather, it's been an interest of his since a very young age.
No, I've always had a math bend. I didn't like geometry, but all the algebras and stuff like that I was into. And when I took my first finance class, I kind of geeked out on it, and it just felt right. And so I think that really sent me down the path of the number side of things.
Van Niel went on to earn a degree in finance at USC, not pursuing a career in volleyball until much later on. After years with the Coast Volleyball Club in San Diego, Van Niel's hard work earned him an opportunity with Team USA Women's Volleyball, coached by legend Karch Karai, who many consider the greatest volleyball player to ever live.
I got to learn a bunch, and he's super smart, and he had these ideas, and I've had some technical skills to be able to implement them, but then being around Karch, being around Jamie, Tom, and then of course all those athletes, you learn a lot.
During his time with the national team, Van Niel was a scout and consultant coach, often performing data analysis and helping the staff put together game plans. With some of the greatest volleyball minds in the world on his side, Van Niel used his opportunity to grow dramatically both in his knowledge of the game and his leadership capabilities.
That's the biggest change, of being more open to learning and figuring out new ways to do things.
As a D1 coach at Utah and USC, Van Niel continued to evolve, coming up with innovative new ways to strengthen his game strategies.
But I would just find any books I could that were just more general sports analytics books, even sports gambling books. I think you can learn some stuff from that, of how bookies make odds, and the models they use.
The Sun Devil head coach listens to basketball, baseball, and football podcasts, trying to find outside-the-box solutions to implement into ASU's game plan.
And not just for volleyball, for basketball and really any sport, baseball, stuff like that. But a lot of times when I'm listening, it might not even be the exact same think they're talking about, but it'll spark something and you go, oh man, I wonder if like this would work.
JJ Van Niel is the definition of a stat head, but his unique experience and approach to analytics is why Arizona State has climbed out of volleyball purgatory and cemented themselves amongst the best teams in the nation. Reporting for Cronkite Sports, I'm Crawford McKinstry.
ASU volleyball has secured a niche position for redshirt freshman Bryn Covell. Throughout the season, her transition into the back row as a defensive specialist while arriving to Tempe as a setter has caused challenges for their opponents. WCSN reporter Andres Armenta has more on the story.
Starting at defensive specialist, number 27, Bryn Covell.
We were in practice and it was preseason, and he was like, all right, here's the lineup. Like, we were practicing for our first away tournament and my name was like on the side and I was like, okay, cool, like, what's this? And he was like, oh, you're gonna DS back row. And I was like, okay, sounds good. It's been a fun transition, I'd say. I like defense, so I'm grateful to be able to play. Honestly, I'm grateful to have the opportunity, and I think it has made my defense a lot better.
Relying on teammates, specifically setter Argentina has also helped Covell adjust easier.
She makes great decisions on who to set, so yeah, she helps me with any questions I have or just learning and watching.
Covell has played her part in the Sun Devils' continued success this season, success that for some brings unwanted praise.
I remember I was in the office one time and a ranking came up and JJ was like, nope, we don't talk about that. I think to him it's like, it's just a number, and we're working on so much in the gym right now, like that's all he cares about.
Without a doubt, the work the Sun Devils have put in has paid off.
I think it really shows like on the court that yeah, we're working outside and off the court, like we're really working to get closer as a team. Every game we want to dominate, like we don't want to just win, we want to beat people. And so I think having like this grit mentality has been really helpful for us.
For Covell, the competitive edge grew immediately when she began playing, in part thanks to her older sister.
She made the middle school team volleyball, and I had never watched before, and I literally watched every set. I'd followed the team to each side, and I just loved it. The more I watched it and like learned the actual game, I'm a super competitive person, and I was like, okay, I want to try this.
Along with growing as a volleyball player, Covell has grown in another aspect of her life since transferring from Texas A&M, her faith.
My faith is number one in my life, and I think me growing in that area here outside of volleyball has really helped my volleyball. In my apartment, I made a sign like over the door, and it says, "You are now entering the mission field." I learned that on a mission trip, and they were like, it's super easy to mission and be in this mindset when you're on a mission trip. Like, you're in a poor community, you want to help the people, but like how on your campus and team can you take that and make that your mission field?
In just her first full season as a Sun Devil, Covell's impact has been felt and will only continue to grow.
It's been a dream, so very blessed. I mean, I think everyone wants to make it to D1, so I think to be here, it feels kind of crazy to say, but at the same time, like, I'm super thankful.
Graduate setter Argentina Ng left Mexico 5 years ago to follow her dream of playing college volleyball at Washington State. Since arriving at ASU, Ng has remained close to the local Hispanic community in the Valley. WCSN reporter Nate Mills takes us to Desert Financial for more on the story.
In her lone season with Arizona State, graduate setter Argentina Ng has helped lead the Sun Devils to one of their best regular seasons ever in their first year in the Big 12.
Arj is a really good silent leader. I think she's got a pretty calming presence, and the thing that I think I was impressed with her right away was that she came in and was like holding kids on our team accountable.
But before her successes playing college volleyball in America, Ng grew up in Mexico, competing for the country's most elite travel clubs as well as the national team.
Back in Mexico, we don't have really the focus that athletics have, especially in college. Getting the chance to come here and like playing my sport at this level with the importance that this country gives to athletics is just a big blessing, a big opportunity.
After growing up in Sonora, Ng made her return to the Sonoran Desert this season with ASU. She made this move after spending her undergraduate years in Pullman, Washington. home of the Washington State Cougars, a stark contrast in climate and culture for the Mexico native.
First of all, yes, the weather, because I'm from like the desert. The language was a big thing too. I mean, I kind of spoke English before coming here. Especially being a setter, we need to hear our teammates calling their sets and like calling plays. So Washington State, we call our sets in Percy. So it wasn't even English, it was like a Persian. So I was like, oh my God, this is so hard.
With goals to better her volleyball career, quickly adapted to life in her new country. While family supported her the whole time, it was not an easy goodbye.
Yo lo que quiero que vaya y busque otro nivel y que desarrolle el máximo nivel que ella pueda alcanzar, que si es pues, preciso tiene que salir, pues que salga. Y yo ya sabía que se tenía que ir. Sí, fue duro que de repente al día siguiente vas a la habitación de la niña a decirle buenas noches. No te imaginas. Mucho orgullo.
Now that she's a short plane ride away from home in her final college season, can not only see her family more, but also connect with Phoenix's large Hispanic community.
There's a lot of Hispanic people here. I've gotten people that came to me after the games and said that they literally drove from Mexico to just watch me play here in Tempe. Some people bring me even gifts, like Mexican candy, Mexican food, like they speak to me in Spanish, so that just feels like a piece of home every time.
Reporting for Cronkite Sports, I'm Nate Mills.
With consecutive NCAA tournament bids, ASU volleyball has ushered in a new era under head coach J.J. Van Niel. Our Crawford McKinstry sat down with Jeff Metcalf, a beat writer who has covered the program since 1985.
The Big 12 champions Sun Devil Volleyball were just announced as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament after their best regular season record in program history. While ASU thrives in the midst of a new era, the Sun Devils of today are just the newest stop on ASU volleyball's journey. One man who's been along for much of the ride is reporter and writer Jeff Metcalf, who began covering ASU sports nearly 40 years ago.
And they had an opening to cover Arizona State football. I came down, interviewed, got the job, started doing that in 1985 with the Phoenix Gazette until they went away, and then worked for the Arizona Republic the rest of the time.
Metcalf has traveled the world, covered 15 different Olympics, but has always stayed close to ASU athletics and women's sports in particular.
I've always had a passion for women's sports, so I've covered a lot of women's basketball going back into the 70s. I've covered the Phoenix Mercury since the beginning, basically, of the WNBA. So that's always been kind of a personal, something that's meant a lot to me to help further the cause of women's sports.
From Debbie Brown's to J.J. Van Niel's Sun Devils, Metcalf has seen almost every iteration of ASU volleyball.
He's been such a great resource for the program to help spread the word about cool stories on the team and the growth of the team. It's so valuable to have someone like Jeff who has been around, because there's nobody else who's been around volleyball longer than him that I'm aware of anyway.
As attendance numbers keep shooting up like never before in 2024, Metcalf has seen firsthand the many record-breaking, legendary, and even out-of-the-ordinary matches of the past.
You know what, it's funny because that very first year in 1985, they played Stanford, which is number 2 in the country at the time. They were playing over here at Desert Financial, but they couldn't play there that night because there was a Madonna concert. If you can believe, imagine a Madonna concert being at Desert Financial.
Metcalf's knowledge and expertise has grown with every single game he's covered here at ASU, but he's also built relationships and a solid reputation with coaches, players, and colleagues within the journalism industry.
You know, he's just always just kind of been measured, professional. And this is rare, I don't know of anybody that I've talked to, sources who have ever said anything bad about Jeff to me.
With the dedication of media personnel like Jeff Metcalf, the coverage of a gritty and growing team like the Sun Devils remains in good hands. Reporting for Cronkite Sports, I'm Crawford McKinstry.
I don't know about you, Colgan, but I thought those were some very insightful and touching stories.
Yes, Ella. And our team of reporters have put in an immense amount of work to get these stories together. And if you want more content just like this, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on X and Instagram for everything Sun Devil Athletics. But that's going to do it for this episode of Cronkite Sports Extra. I'm Colgan Herschel.
And I'm Ella Walter Sanchez. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.